أن نحضر كل إنسان كاملا في المسيح يسوع.
مساء الخير أعزائي المشاهدين، وحلقة جديدة من الحلقات الخاصة عن انتخابات الأمريكية 2024. النهاردة هيكون معايا المرشح عن كاليفورنيا ستيت سينات ديستريكت 29. لو انت في الديستريكت دي، هقول السيتي دلوقتي، لو انت في الديستريكت 29 بتاعت كاليفورنيا، لان في فرق بين كاليفورنيا والفيدرال، في فرق بين الولايه، الديستريكت بتاعت الولايه والديستريكت بتاعت الفيدرال. فاحنا النهارده معانا ضيفنا مرشح عن الولايه. طبعا ده حاجه مهمه جدا جدا ان احنا نختار مرشحنا عن ولايه كاليفورنيا، خصوصا في ظل القوانين الغريبه اللي بتطلع. فالنهارده هيكون معايا المرشح عن الديستريكت 29، والسيتيز بتاعت الديستريكت دي هتكون أبلاند، رانش كوكومانجا، فونتانا، كولتون، ريالتو، سان برناردينو، ريدلاندز، بلومينغتون، وحبه من هايلاند اند جراند تراس. انا عايزاكم تخشوا تكتب الزيب كود بتاعك، هنحط لكم الويب سايت بعد كده، وده تخش تكتب الزيب كود بتاعك هتعرف الديستريكت بتاعتك رقم كام. لو انت من الديستريكت 29 يبقى لازم تتفرج النهارده على الحلقه دي، لان ضيفي النهارده هو المرشح عن ولايه كاليفورنيا عن المنطقه بتاعتك. خلوني ارحب بضيفي النهارده. هيكون معايا النهارده Carlos Garcia. Okay, good evening, and thank you, Carlos, for accepting my invitation and coming to our show.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here with you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Carlos has been an active member of our community, and his campaign promises to bring fresh perspective and solutions to the issues we face. Welcome, Carlos, again, and thank you for joining us. We have a lot of questions waiting for you today.
All right, great. I look forward to it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So, Carlos, let's start with your platform, and let's start with your background first.
Okay.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to run for California Senator?
Sure. I actually came here when I was about 8 years old. I'm an immigrant. I lived through the war in Nicaragua, so I'm a child of war, what I call that. And when I mean that I lived through the war, it's, I lived there for 2.5 years. This is us sleeping on the floors, bullets flying over us. When my grandmother and my sister and my parents sent us here to America, they were trying to shoot down our plane. You can hear the bullets flying off and on.
Wow.
We didn't get to see our parents for like a year, and my mom was handicapped all of her life. And my father was working for the government at the time. So the condition was for him to bring her here to the States and come right back. Literally just drop her off at the airport and come right back. My dad knew already how bad things were getting, so my dad asked for help here in America. And a day after my parents got here, they gathered all of his friends and colleagues, and they executed everybody in the plaza.
Oh, my God.
So by one day, and by the grace of God, and I always say this because I'm very proud to say that, it's God's blessing that I'm sitting here right in front of you. There's a lot of miracles that we experienced during the war. There's a lot of miracles that the reasons why I shouldn't even be here, for that matter, but it's God's blessing with that.
Yes.
I will tell you also that when we came here, we had nothing. My father worked as a janitor, cleaning toilets at the hospital. But we always had food, we always had clothing, whether it was hand-me-downs, and it was really more about what I learned from all of that as a kid, that people just helped us, like people we didn't know. They always wanted to help. And I think what stuck to me as a kid was And to this day, I always drive that message that if somebody needs help, you need to help them.
Right.
You know, somebody took the time to help me, then I'm going to do it and pay it forward in return to help that individual. So I've also taught kids in classes, high schoolers, and I always tell them, you know, you guys are going to be very successful people. I'm sure you're going to be. But I said the one thing that I want you to remember when you get to where you need to get to is how you started, who helped you, and it's your responsibility to pay that forward and help someone else move forward as well too.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of background as to who I am with that. But I also currently, I never thought I was going to get involved in politics, right? But here I am.
Yeah.
So 3.5 years ago in the city of Upland, I ran for city council because I've had enough of the way government was being run. The person that we helped get elected, unfortunately, turned out to be somebody that, you know, completely shifted. So the first race I ran was a 2-year race because he left halfway through the term. And I ran against 3 people. I ended up getting about 43% of the vote. And I won
That's
that.
great.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was a lot of campaigning with my family on the corners with signs.
Yeah.
Every Friday, we were all there for 4 hours.
Yeah, because I know like the fund for it's a little for Republican Party. I know that. Yeah.
And so from there, it's just I wanted to get in there to really make a difference.
Yeah.
You know, bottom line. And then I just got reelected to the 4-year seat, and I ran unopposed.
Okay.
My message is very simple, right? For me, it's like we can talk about the national things that are going on, but that's not really going to solve our local issues. So when I ran for council, for me, it was not about whether you're a Republican or whether you're a Democrat. It's about our community.
Yes.
We as people need to find change and help one another.
Right.
So this opportunity came up for District 29 at a larger scale. And for me, it's, again, I'll go back to saying it's about helping our community, right? And this is why I got involved in the race. I'm in a very tough race. We made the primaries. And, you know, I have a lot of people that say, well, you can't win, and people that are supportive. And to me, it's like, if I'm doing what I'm doing that's right to help our community, then people have to see the change that needs to happen.
Yes.
I think we're living right now in times where people are just tired of politicians saying one thing to get elected, and then when they get into office, then they do something else, right?
Yeah.
We're living this on a daily basis. So for me, is I want to be that voice that I'm not going to be your typical politician. As a matter of fact, I joke that I said, don't ever call me a politician because I'm not a politician. I'm a servant leader. I want to serve my community. And in that process, just help all of our families and business owners as well.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So what are the key points of your platform, or let's say, what changes do you want to bring if elected?
So 3 key areas that I'm focusing on for my platform is to increase public safety, right? Public safety is a high priority for me. Making sure that our tax dollars are being spent wisely,
Yes.
not foolishness. The third one I have also is focusing on our business community and our workforce too. And also for me, what's very dear to my heart is also helping our veterans. You know,
Okay.
I love this country, but the freedoms that we have are thanks to the blood, sweat, and tears that a lot of our veterans have gone
Correct.
through as well. So
Correct.
those are 4 areas that I'm covering during my campaign.
Yeah.
And I will start by telling you that I'm actually the public safety candidate, and why I say that, as of right now, I have all of law enforcement in District 29. I have all of their endorsements for law
great.
enforcement. I have Sheriff Dykes, Sheriff Chad Bianco, even from Riverside. I have California PORAC, another organization, Peace Officers Associations,
Yeah.
SEBA. So I have everything that law enforcement behind me. And the reason being, I'm always an advocate for keeping our community safe. I don't keep my mouth
Right.
shut with that. And I
Right.
think that's what we've been lacking, just people going
Exactly.
along, make sure I don't
The last
upset
couple
somebody.
of years,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's very important to me.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and I think also when I talk about taxes, there's a lot of wasteful spending. But the key component to that is there's no accountability.
Correct.
Right? When we look at, when you're talking about programs like homeless programs and all of that, there's a lot of money being spent, but tell me, do we really have results?
Yeah.
We don't. And the reason being, there's no accountability.
Yes.
And this is conversations I've had in roundtables with Congresswomen, asking them, why don't we have a task force? Why don't we hold these organizations? I'm not saying all of them are doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
But the ones that really could use the funding are not getting it because everybody else is getting it and not them. So I think
There's
accountability to be able to keep that,
Yes.
it's very, very important.
Right.
And, you know, and also as I'm a business owner, and as a business owner too, we're the backbone of America, right?
Yeah.
We work very hard. There's a
Right.
lot of mom and pop shops that are unfortunately closing down because of the level of decisions that are happening. They're making things so much harder, and it's not a good place right now for a lot of business owners because of all the legislation,
Yeah.
laws, and everything that are passed.
I usually hear like California now is anti-employer, or especially anti-small business employer,
Yeah.
which is really bad. Like it's really bad.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So okay, one issue that's very important to many of our viewers today is parental rights. Can you share your views on parental rights and what change you will be able to do if you got elected?
So to me, parental rights are a God-given right for our kids, right? I think that it's very important that we live with our kids. We know what they're all about. We know what we want to try to, how we want to raise them.
Yeah.
There is no, in any way, shape, or form, the government should ever be involved in that, right?
Right.
These are our rights. Unless you're abusing your child, then I can understand it's a different topic. But other than that, you as a government do not have a right to tell me what my kid can read, what you're going to teach them on how to think. That's my responsibility as a parent. I think also what we're experiencing right now, especially with everything that's going on, is parents, I don't believe, have a choice. They think that they're trapped in a lot of situations, right? The reality is you're not. There's options, right? There's options for homeschooling. There's options for charter schools. There's options for private schools. And granted, some of them cost money, some of them don't. And I understand that. But I think until us as parents get involved, we're going to be able to have that say. We can't keep our mouths quiet and expect other parents to step up and do it. I think it's our responsibility, if we want to see that change and help other kids along the way, that we need to get involved.
And like, how should we get involved? And what do you think? How should parents get involved in this?
I think we can begin by attending school board meetings. Get yourself informed of what's going on in some of these.
So anyone can go and attend.
Anyone can go.
You worked in the school district before, right?
Yeah, part of my career has been in education, for the most part on that.
Yeah.
So I know that there's different ways of approaching. I know that a lot of schools don't really don't really stream the meetings. And I think there's a problem with that also, because it's lack of transparency, right?
Right.
So any parent can go to a school meeting. You go to their website, find out, look at their calendar when the board meetings are, right? I believe in certain cases, you can fill out a card to ask questions also. So most of them, I believe, you get 3 minutes on the microphone to ask questions. But that's something that a lot of parents are a little bit too shy sometimes to do, or they'll expect someone else to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that if we're going to see change, we have to attend these meetings. We have to ask questions. You have to talk to the board members. You have to talk to the superintendents. Ask those questions. Remember, at the end of the day, it's our taxpayer money that's actually funding a lot of these programs.
Yeah.
Right? So you have a right to ask these questions, specifically if it's related to your child.
Exactly. And you were telling me a story before the interview, like your parents told you, like they teach you what they need to teach you inside your home, right?
It's funny because like I was sharing with you too.
Yeah.
When we were kids, my parents would say, my parents love this country. It's the reason why we immigrated here, right?
Yeah.
But they would say, I don't care what the laws are outside of our door. Inside of this door, this is still Nicaragua, this is still my house, and you're going to follow my rules.
Yeah, it's not anymore now.
It's not anymore now.
No parents can say that anymore now.
No parents can say that, right? Because I don't even know what they would consider. I mean, people will lose their mind if I say that now to my own kid.
They said, it's not safe, the home is not safe, we'll take your kid.
Exactly.
And what is the safe, like your home is not safe, what's that mean? Or what is the definition of that? We don't know. No one knows. Yeah,
because it's just this complete spin-off. Like, you don't know if you yell at your child, now that's not safe. You're being abusive. I will tell you, coming from Nicaragua, old school, my parents used to spank me, right? So if I ever got in trouble, it says my mom was handicapped. My mom would hit me with her cane, right? And then she would tell me, wait till your dad gets home, and that was round 2. Right?
Yeah.
If we took those and as a kid, you're always thinking like, man, my parents are just bad or whatever. But I will tell you that it's because of that. It's who I am today. It's because of that I'm able to also raise my kid in a very positive environment. granted, old school parenting, right? There's some flaws.
Yeah,
you can admit that, right? Like you wouldn't do that to your kids nowadays. But at the same token, it's also something that it's an eye opener for you, and it makes you realize, okay, I want to be a better parent than my parents. I want to be able to teach my kids in a better way and give them the options I didn't have, right?
Yes.
But I will also tell you that upbringing, that harsh upbringing, I think a lot of our kids are not being raised that way, and a lot of them, unfortunately, are doing what they want. Part of it is because, sadly, both parents work. Some parents work 2-3 jobs. Single parents work 2-3 jobs to keep the lights on.
Correct.
And they don't have somebody they can watch their kids.
And they trust the schools.
They trust the schools to do it. And when they get home, what do they have? They have their iPads. They have the internet telling them what to do and so forth. So your kids are being raised by the internet and everything that's out there, right?
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but that's also when, as a parent, if you are working that hard, get your kids involved in sports. Get them involved in after-school clubs so you keep them busy and out of trouble with that too.
Yeah, of course.
I think that's also very important.
Yes. So education is a hot topic too. So how do you plan to ensure that parents have more transparency and control over their children's school curriculums?
So there has to be transparency in the way schools are putting things out, right? I'll go back to telling you that parents need to get involved, right? And not just get involved when they hear something. Start learning right now, okay, what's happening in my child's school? Talk to the teacher. What are you teaching my kid? What's the curriculum? Get a copy of that.
But now there is laws, you can't say that.
Well, I'm going to tell you, so you can also go to the board meetings, and this is what I'm trying to say too, right? A lot of parents can go to board meetings, but the reality is, who's really behind pushing these things from Sacramento?
Yes.
It's the board, and part of the problem is that they don't want to upset anybody, and because when you're going to public school, right, every child is basically funding for a school district. But if you start looking at changing the dynamics, get involved. Like, say, for example, if you're a board member and you're up for re-election and you're not doing your job, get parents to run for those offices.
Yes.
That's the only way, folks, that we're going to get to change a lot of this is just by getting involved, step up and run when it comes to offices, so we can make those decisions and help out.
Yeah, that sounds great. So hopefully every parent listen to us now, like attend these meetings.
Yeah.
And because they all said, like, my voice, it doesn't matter, but it does, right?
Oh, it does matter. Every voice counts. When I was doing council, I would hear some of that too. The same thing. Oh, my voice doesn't matter. I don't know what's going on. I said, but you know what? I said it does matter, because I'm telling you right now. When I first started to council, every last Saturday of the month, I always, since I started, I still do it. I have coffee with the councilman, and I invite our residents, business owners, our veterans, so we can have coffee, talk about what's going on, right? And that's an outlet for you to talk about it.
Yes.
And I've also told them, if I don't know about it, I can't help you.
Exactly.
Right? And if I'm going to make a decision, it affects me as a resident first, and then council later. Because most of the time, I'm going to be agreeing with you, but we also have dialogue. Okay, so if you don't like this decision, tell me, how would you fix it?
Right.
Give me an option. Right? It's all about communication. But unfortunately, sometimes people just rather complain than talk about it.
Yes.
And it's what I'm planning on doing with this seat in District 29.
Yes.
I want to bring in those community leaders.
Okay.
People from the pastors, from churches. I want to bring in law enforcement. I want to bring in everybody that's involved in the community businesses to talk about these roundtables. Okay, what's going on in your industry? What do we need to do?
Yeah.
And if we do this together, it's what I tell folks too. I'm running in this seat. It's not for me. This is for all of us.
Yes.
So this seat, when we win this seat, it's going to be all of us winning it. It's not just about me. And for me, it's going to be able to keep those lines of communication open for everybody.
Yes, sounds great. So let's talk about another subject.
Okay.
Yeah, I know parental rights, we can speak about it all day.
Right.
Yeah. So finding jobs in California is very difficult. So what specific measures do you propose to boost the economy and create jobs in California?
Unfortunately, a lot of our youth has gone through these changes, right? A lot of kids want to just get out there and work, or I should say nowadays they don't really want to get out there and work, right? There's still
Yes.
that unknown. Like, what am I going to do when I finish high school? Right?
Yes.
And I've also told them, if I don't know about it, I can't help you. I think that a lot of what we need to continue to invest on is workforce development, right? Especially even for our veterans that are coming back. Provide opportunities to teach them, how to do skill sets, whether it's in construction, technology, whatever it is on there. We want to make sure also that we have tax relief for the businesses to be able to bring in additional help as well. Supporting small businesses is a crucial part of our economy, of our, doing our, especially here in District 29. Sadly, when I look at where we are with businesses, I've gone to Sacramento, and if you walk around Sacramento for about, around a half a mile within the radius on there, you notice that a lot of the businesses that are around there are boarded up or no longer there anymore. So I think that we definitely need to invest, providing some tax relief for businesses, bringing in some smart development for businesses, and to also train a lot of our youth to get into these fields. A lot of them can't afford to go to college, but the alternative is also to have, trades as well too. And I think that's also very important. So I'm going to tell you also that what's going to help also is investing in the infrastructure. California has a lot of old infrastructure, so we need to really help that. And that also, in turn, will create a lot of jobs as well, too.
Sounds great. So another subject I want to ask you about, like the healthcare. Like, now it's really expensive in California, and there is even a tax penalty if you don't have health care. So what is your view of how to make the health care or the health insurance affordable to everyone in your district? Do you have a plan for that?
So actually, I do. And,
Yeah.
again, it begins with the communication piece. I'm going to give you an example. Why do we have, for example, veterans that are sleeping on the streets? Right? Why do we have veterans that cannot get health care? But yet we have also, and I'm just going to be honest with you, we have also people, illegal aliens coming into this country that are being provided health care and all of that. For the average person, for the average family, and this is nothing against immigrants at all. This is more about doing what's right. Right? So for example, if you look at that, all this money that's being spent that could also be turned around and be focused on our local community to help families that are struggling have health care, to help families that barely making ends meet, make them a priority, make our own homes, our own backyard a priority. And we're so focused on everybody else that we forget, that we have people here who actually need our help. So there's a plan that I like to just talk to a lot of our healthcare workers, talk to a lot of our families. What is it going to take for us to be able to make this affordable, be able to do the right thing, and provide these services that a lot of our families need?
Yeah.
So this is something that I want to bring the community together to talk about. And how are we going to solve this? Because I can tell you X, Y, and Z, but is it really going to help everybody? No, because it cannot be a cookie. Everybody has a different story. Everybody has a different situation.
Yes.
So we need to tackle this as a community, right? We need to tackle this in District 29. Listen, how is this going to be able to help all of us here in 29?
Yes. So the last question I have for you, the immigrants, because most of our community is immigrants.
Right.
So what's your view about immigrants cases going on right now? Like,
I will tell you that I believe in closed borders. Right? I believe that immigrants have every right to come into this country. I'm an immigrant. I'd be lying to you if I said, forget everybody, right?
Yeah.
Because that's not who I am.
Right.
There's a reason why this country is considered the greatest country in the world for opportunity. But there's right ways of doing it and there's wrong ways of doing it. So I believe that if we allow our immigrants to go through the process of immigration and become citizens and really help them out, it's just going to help our entire community, right?
Right.
We have people coming into our country that we don't know who they are.
Yes.
I've seen footage, I've seen and actually read reports where you have people that are, from different countries and they're criminals and they're different things. You've seen a lot that's going on in the news too, right?
Yes.
So how are we allowing this to happen? And the way I look at this, you're allowing this to happen for a vote. So you're going to tell me that a vote is more important than someone's life? You know what I mean?
But there is a question. All what we know, like, you can't vote unless you are a U.S. citizen. So how they vote?
Because the way they're trying to they don't ask for ID. So voter ID now is
yeah.
considered like bad. Like that's just you don't. It's. I guess in some cases I've even heard it's considered racist because you ask somebody for a voter ID, which is crazy, right?
Yes, right.
Because you still need to present an ID if you're going to the DMV. You still need to present if you're going to fly. You need an ID.
Yeah.
So voting, that's the most important thing in our country. You're going to tell me that you don't have to have an ID to vote?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Wow.
So that's why I go back and saying policies that are being created to save votes and to keep people in power.
Yeah.
That's the reality.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you want it, and that's the thing that I think a lot of our viewers are watching today.
Yeah.
If nothing else, remember, do your homework. Go out there, ask questions. Okay, why are they trying to do this or why are they trying to do that? And then you'll get answers that you're looking for.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, we all have the responsibility to take care of all of us, not because of a vote, not because you're one on, red or blue or whatever it is on there. It's a responsibility to take care of our community as a whole.
That's true. And by getting this, like all of these illegal immigrants, they took some of our benefits in our state, like medical, food stamps. They take most of it. And when a legal U.S. citizen or immigrant here need it, they don't have it. Yeah.
And that's what's wrong with the system. And again, to me, it always comes down to people trying to save their seats, people trying to save that vote, and the more votes I can get, it doesn't matter who you're going to step on.
Right.
And I think that when you look at California as a whole, right?
Yes.
It's become a place where it used to be a beautiful state. You wanted to come here. Now it's just look at where we are now.
Yes.
Families are struggling. And why? Because somebody else has better opportunities not being legally here. And I think that we really just need to change that as well.
Yeah, and everything starts with California. So.
Right? Unfortunately, yeah.
So those are great goals. Lastly, what message would you like to leave with our viewer today? Yeah.
So what I want to say first, thank you. It's an honor to be here with you, and I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to talk to your viewers. If nothing else, folks, don't look at this as my race. Take a look at California. There's a lot of great candidates that are running to make a change in California. California has been overrun for far too long by a certain party that's just destroyed basically California. My goal today for you is do your homework, research your candidates, talk to them, call them, find out if they actually align with you as well too. A lot of us, we're in this fight, and it's a hard fight because of what we're dealing with, right? So I ask you to please look me up, find out more about me. Go to my website. I could use volunteer support. I'm doing a grassroots effort for fundraising. Donate $1 to my campaign. I want to make sure that people get involved. And you don't have to live in my district to be able to donate to my campaign. My goal is to make sure that when we win this seat, like I said earlier, this isn't about me. This is about all of us. This is about our community, our family, our kids. I want to make sure that we continue to fight hard and we don't give up, period. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you so much for sharing your vision with us today. We wish you the best of luck in your campaign. Thank you for being here today. Thank you. شكرا أعزائي المشاهدين. أتمنى تكون الحلقة مفيدة النهاردة لكل المشاهدين اللي عايشين في السيتي اللي قلنا عليها في أول الحلقة، وهنكمل البرنامج ونحاول نجيب أكبر قدر من الناس. احنا بنبعت لكل المرشحين من الاثنين، من الجمهوريين والديمقراط، واحنا بنبعت لهم، واللي بيوافق طبعا بيشرفنا وبنستضيفه وبنسأله الأسئلة المهمة لينا اللي احنا محتاجين نعرفها كمصريين، اللي تهمنا احنا زي الدراسة وحقوقنا كوالدين واللي بيحصل طبعا مع أولادنا في المدارس، وكمان الهجرة. شكرا ليكم النهاردة، وانتظرونا في حلقات جديدة من برنامجكم مصدر ثقة.